Why does it keep disappearing on me? There it is.
Oh. Everything disappears on you.
Okay, even my parents.
Jesus Christ!
imagine
Fucking dork.
I start working up my demons right now.
That's the best intro we've ever had so far.
That was a joke. Are we recording? That was recorded.
Cool. Oh yeah, that was recorded.
Thank God. Shut up, Mom and Dad.
It's time for Bourbon with Friends, the bourbon podcast that never takes itself too seriously. Pull up a chair, grab a glass, and remember, a bourbon with friends can change the world. Here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Bourbon with Friends. Myself, Adrian, and Martin are here to talk about whiskeys from around the world and how a bourbon with friends can change the world. Adrian, first and foremost, how was your birthday weekend? It's
not. It's my birthday month. Let's just say that. Yeah. It's my birthday month. It was really good. Had a blast with some friends. Martin was so kind to come out to Fort Wayne to see me. So it was he did lie.
I lied to you.
He told me he wasn't coming. He said, I can't make it, Adrian. And I said, you better be there. And he did. He was there.
you know what was weird is because I feel like I'm usually pretty specific, or I'll tell you, like I'm pretty transparent. Like I'm not somebody that won't tell you. You didn't even ask why I couldn't make it. Not once. And so I'm like, thank God, because I don't even have an excuse on why I can't make it. I was just like, hopefully she doesn't ask specific questions. I'm sitting there racking my fucking brain.
What did I say?
I don't remember. What did you say?
I said, you better be there.
You did. And she was mad. And she was mad. And
I didn't even ask. I said, you better be there.
All it was, and then Patty, shout outs to Patty, shout outs to Caesar. Like, they're just like, Adrian's mad, dude. And so, like, I was going to show up like 20 minutes later, but then I'm like, it's too fucking cold and I got to pee. So, like, that's why I walked in early and then saw you. So, yeah, it was an amazing weekend. Got to share with Adrian in the beautiful Fort Wayne, which is a bigger place than I thought. It's a lot bigger. We got to hang out. Got to go to this place. It's called Dotton Line Brewery.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I wish I could have had a beer there. That would have been nice.
It was very good. I'm drinking beer right now. But yeah, it was amazing. What was a highlight of the weekend, Adrian? And let's also hear about your progress on Dry January, considering this was that kind of weekend.
I know, like I said, it wasn't too bad, except for I wanted a beer at the brewery. I did really want a beer with you guys, but
good. The hop water was okay.
Yeah, the hop water. I did have some.
She had hop water.
I had hop water, lemon lime.
What's different?
Yeah. Trying to think. My highlight of the weekend. Oh gosh. I'm really competitive, so I'm glad we won that game. We played. We did both times.
we rocked it out on the music. That was
awesome.
We're clearly superior when it comes to knowing music from 1973. So
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. No, that was a cool game. Actually, shout out Hitster. If you guys are in a board game, it's called. This isn't a promo or any kind of sponsorship. It was a cool fucking game. It was called Hitster. So if you guys are into board games, check it out. So
yeah.
You know what else we experienced this weekend?
Freezing temperatures.
Freezing fucking temperatures. I know it's kind of like stereotypical, like when you live in cold places to complain about the weather, but I hate it. It's getting to that point where the holiday nostalgia is worn off, and like even though it's like warm outside, there's no acorns roasting on a open fire anymore. You know what I mean? Like at this point, it's just fucking cold.
I know never mind.
Was it acorns? Chestnuts. Is it? Someone's roasting nuts. Okay, I don't know.
Okay.
We're roasting nuts somewhere. So no, but like, yeah, it was definitely fucking cold. It was below zero in some places.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna put this. Let's
put those two together. Put those two together.
We can put it together. It's pretty much cold and then zero. But at the same time, we actually have to put this on hold for a second because Chad's having issues.
Yeah. That's cool.
So. Which is fine. And we can always edit. Joe can edit this later.
Who's Joe? Oh, that's all right.
Who's Joe?
I just wanted to say it to make him mad when he watches this. He's gonna watch this and just flick out the screen. Fuck you.
January's almost over, and then all we have is February, because March is not that cold, right?
For you,
it's not in Indiana. Well, it's not like you're that much further north than me.
No, but it was I know that we've had in the past like some random cold streaks in the middle of those kind of weeks. Or the months rather. I know sometimes we'll have like terrible like February or March. We had like the worst snowstorm we ever had was 1998 back in the day.
Yeah. That's the year I graduated from high school.
Was it really? I was in 8th grade.
Oh, it was right. My age, but I'm
we're not that far apart.
But
that was it was right before spring break, and we had the week off before spring break, and then we had the spring break week, and we went to Washington D.C. on our D.C. trip. And I'm no longer allowed in what was Washington's home?
The District of Columbia?
Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon.
Yeah, I'm not allowed there. It was a whole thing.
I don't want to know.
It's a whole thing.
I think you told me this story before.
Yeah. I got to stay at the Potomac River for a while. I could keep talking about this Washington trip if we need to buy time.
No, yeah, I see Chad just walking back up right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But we can get back into
down,
that.
I see he's down below. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't see he was down there. Okay.
Looked like he had to switch computers or move.
That's cool.
So,
shit.
Switch computers.
There we
Thanks for the crotch shot.
Do you like it?
What is going on?
Luckily, I wear all black, so you couldn't tell where it starts or ends. So.
Oh God.
You white, so like the rest of us.
Yes. I am white.
All
right. I'm just putting in notes right now.
You were gonna
put
cold and zero together.
I'll retract on that. So basically what I was saying prior to this, and this is gonna actually we'll do this for Joe. So it was really cold and it was really zero. That's not how it goes. So it was it's cold outside. It was below zero, which if you put those together, Brian, go ahead.
Oh, really? Now we're just bringing it back to me. Thank you for playing it cold zero.
Oh, wow.
No, we do have some amazing
guests. We do have amazing guests.
Murphy Quinn from Cedar Ridge, but also with Cold Zero. And then Chad, one of the founders of Cold Zero and a 20-year retired operator from the U.S. Army. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I did 25 years.
25 years. Yeah.
Well, fuck me. I read the wrong report. Well, thank you guys for both coming on. It's really excited to having both you guys on. Murphy, first and foremost, you do an excellent job at Cedar Ridge, and I'm jealous of all the shit you are coming out with, being a distiller myself. So I'm envious and wish I could have your talent. And then, Chad, I am envious of your career that you've done in the past, plus what you're currently doing now with your company and how you're moving it forward in a positive direction for veterans, their families, and the special forces groups alone. So thank you both.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Damn, that was a solid intro, dude. You're really good at this.
Good.
Yeah, it's weird.
You're really good at this.
It's like
you're really professional, man. That was awesome. But I do echo those, you guys. We've been a very big fan of Cedar Ridge as a group for quite a while now. I was introduced to them through your rye, and we have a buddy, Freedom Maltz Germ. Shout out to Germ, who was a person who 100% got me a lot of samples that led me to buying a lot of bottles. So yeah. And then I got introduced to Cold Zero through this, and the minute that I found out that it was in conjunction with that, I was like, it's going to be amazing. So I'm very excited about this interview, by the way. So let's get into it, Adrian. Let's start it off. Birthday girl next week.
What is happening? Okay, I lost my screen there for a second.
I know you were mid this. It looked like you were about to do like the, I'm
not gonna. I would never.
Something inappropriate. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's usually not me, but So I want to start with Chad. As we said earlier, you're the co-founder, one of the co-founders of Cold Zero, and we played around a bunch at the beginning about the cold and the zero. So where I want to start is just by asking what Cold Zero really means to you and why you chose that name for your spirit company.
Yep, that's a good question. And there's a super quick answer or then the story. So the super quick answer is just
story.
Yeah, super quick is just a first shot out of a rifle, and it's got to be deadly accurate, right? So in the business that I was in before, I was in a hostage rescue unit for 8 years, something like that, out of my 25-year career. And our sniper unit would usually infill prior to an assault, whether that be a helicopter assault or ground, either walking or on vehicles. And they would secure the objective for us, and they'd be sitting out there, in a sniper observer team. And as we would roll in, they would be calling out if they had any targets. And once we got to a point where the target would be able to see us, our snipers would be able to neutralize those targets as we were coming up on the objective. So, one of the coolest things I've ever done is going up to an objective and hearing these shots, and a target would be neutralized as we were approaching. So we were able to get a lot closer before we blew a door or anything. And the real important thing is that first shot, it has to be accurate, because if they shoot and miss a bad guy, then they know we're there, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. You have your choice. You can cut that out later. You can either go with the short answer or a little bit of
we're going to keep it in. Yeah, we'll keep
Oh,
it
in. We don't filter anything.
Yeah.
In that case, I'll tone it down a little bit.
No, tone it up.
Turn it up.
Turn it up.
We filter what you guys want filtered. Other than that, we just take out some stuff because we can get a little
ornery.
Yeah, Martin likes to say feral.
In that case, you guys can just get rid of me and keep Murphy on. He's the reason we're so successful.
Come on, that's ridiculous.
So speaking of that, I think that again, I think it's, for me, really cool to obviously be we're very especially Bourbon with Friends. One of our things, like when we took over as hosts, is to kind of get more of like the craft scene, right? And I know, like, whatever, like people can be like, oh, well, like there's so many distillers out there doing things, but like our focus is like, I really wanted to like highlight craft, because that is what I feel is the future. So and from a good standpoint, right? So I think the question is, Chad, how did you link up with Cedar Ridge?
Yeah, so one of my partners is a retired FBI agent. We were actually in Special Forces together. This would have been just after 9/11, so 20 some odd years ago. And then he left Special Forces and he went to the FBI, and he recently retired and went home. But he's from Iowa and lives, maybe 5 miles down the road from you guys, Murph. Yep. And he had a relationship with those guys. And, we probably could have approached a lot of distilleries and say, hey, this is who we are, and we'd like to have a relationship with you guys. Well, we did some research and found out that this is the #1 distillery in Iowa. They have the #1 selling bourbon in Iowa, and why wouldn't you want to go with the best? It was an easy answer for us to go with Cedar Ridge.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty amazing.
It is. It's and it's, again, not to like fucking wax your car over there, Murphy. You're doing amazing fucking things out there, man. Honestly,
thank you.
Some of the best rye that I've tried in a long time. Some of the best bourbon. I'm a big single malt, so quintessential stuff.
Yeah,
it's been a big part of our group in general, and it's really cool to see. So yeah, I can see it, Chad. Like why you would align yourself with a brand that is like putting out stuff like this. So yeah,
that was really my intro to whiskey as a whole, was Scotch. I really started with Glenfarclas and started with the 12 and worked my way up. My all-time favorite is the Glenfarclas 25, and I've been out to the distillery. Amazing product, amazing, just a really, really phenomenal distillery. And what really sold me on Cedar Ridge was that quintessential.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Same smoky overtones. Yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I was obsessed with the Peat and Sherry, the ex-bourbon one that was like the distillery only that we got. When Adrian was out there, they brought back some stuff, and I'm like, oh, come on, man, like. But it is, and I think that's really cool that like you obviously saw it. And yeah, I mean that was I know myself and Brian, we're big Scotch fans. We're trying to get Adrian into it. We're trying to get her into more single malts.
I just want to say one thing.
You may.
I tried at ASM with Murphy. That was finished. It was a Amontillado finish, and that was one of the best. That to date is the best. My favorite ASM that I've ever tried. And I haven't tried a lot, and I've never really tried a bunch of scotches, so I don't really have a palate for that. But that I did enjoy that very much. That was my pick that day. But
glad to hear that. One of my greatest pleasures is converting people who don't traditionally drink single malt into the category, and I found that using that Amontillado sherry, that's like the bridge to get people there all the way.
Yeah, 100%.
That was
stealing that.
It was delicious.
Like that's how we get it. No, yeah, it's. I think it does take that. Yeah. No, it's fine. That's what we do is we derail. It's actually bourbon with friends and derail. So, yeah. All right.
So, Chad, this is another question for you. Because it's a veteran-led business, right, and a veteran-forward company, you face some unique challenges with balancing like authenticity and the commercial appeal to get that moving forwards. How does Cold Zero like bridge those two gaps together to make Cold Zero a prominent brand for the military as well as a veteran-owned company?
Now, it's a good question, and I'll have to get back with you on that one. Let's go to the next question. I'm just kidding. Now, really what we decided when we first started this off is that we weren't going to compromise quality no matter what. So we knew we had and actually one of our mentors, other than Murphy, is Shane Baker out of Wilderness Trail.
Yeah.
So when I was living down in Florida, I lived just down the road from him, and had a lot of chats. And he really set us up for success. And he said, "You've got a great story, but if you don't have two other things, you're not going to go anywhere. You have to have quality juice in your bottle." So we did that with Murph, and then you got to get into the marketing thing. So you talk about being a successful veteran.
Chad, we lost your audio.
While we're waiting for him to get that back up, I can chime in on that. I do want to say that is one of the coolest things about working with Chad and his crew is that they have no desire to just put their names on something and take it to market and sell it. And they probably could do it because they have such an incredible backstory. These guys have done so much for the country, and they could really just lean on that. And I think it's really, really cool that they truly care about the product. They come out fairly often and taste through barrels with me. You know, we workshop some ideas together because they do know that product is extremely important. And if they just use their story and their background to sell a bottle, well, it might work at least the first time, but then people are going to feel burned by it, right? If the quality doesn't match what they spent on that bottle, what they invested, they're going to feel burned and they're not going to come back to it. So Chad and his group are smart enough to realize that, and they know that the story is extremely important, but only if the product can hold up.
With a veteran-owned business, like you've led off with it, you know the question already, the unique challenges between a veteran authenticity and the commercial appeal between the two. How can you actually make that the Cold Zero route expand or reach the appropriate audience in the right way?
Yeah, I think I would say that you can't fake authenticity or quality. So the first thing that we decided to do when we went with Cedar Ridge was just everything that we put out is going to be good. It's going to be something that we would drink. And if there's something that's more appealing to the masses, like lowering your price and putting a lesser quality product out there, fuck that. I don't want to be in that kind of a business. You know what I mean? I want to put a good quality product out that I'm not ashamed to have my name associated with. And that's what we're going to do. And if it doesn't work out commercially, fuck it. We gave it a shot.
That's so dope. That's so dope.
I like you so much more right now.
That's the greatest answer I think I've ever heard, dude. That's really good. Because that's such the attitude that people need to have, because it's, I mean, obviously you gotta make money, right? But like, I think that kind of that spirit behind spirits That was a bad pun in it.
I liked it.
Did you like it? Okay, thank God.
Yeah.
I'm glad someone liked it. But no, like I really like that. I mean, because I think that's just passion. That's just passion captured right there, and I love that. That's so.
Well, that's a big thing. I mean, I'm guaranteed Murph is passionate about what he does, right? Puts out outstanding products. He's been doing it since he's fucking 15 years old. And I don't know, what are you now, Murph, like 22?
I'm 36.
So he's been doing it for a while.
It's been 7 years, Murphy.
He knows his shit, and he's an expert in his field. When I left what I was doing in the military and as a contractor, I was an expert in my field. Why would I suddenly lower my standards to peddle a product?
Yeah,
I'm not going
100%.
to.
Yeah.
And if I'll, can I just chime in real quick? Because I think that's so smart on Chad's side and on his whole crew side. Consumers these days, like Chad mentioned, I've been doing this for a while, and in like maybe 2015, 2016, 2017, companies could get away with that. You could kind of put your name on something and just it would sell. Consumers these days, and with the whiskey boom going crazy, they've picked up on that, and they'll see right through people just trying to use their background or their story. A celebrity putting their name on something, or military heroes putting their name on something and just selling it. Consumers are too smart now, and they see right through that. So it's very important for people like Chad to have their story and have their background, because that's a huge piece of all of it. But the product also has to be good. Otherwise, consumers will see right through that, and they won't come back to it.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
very well said.
It is.
I fucking got nothing. You guys answered great.
I do sort of have a question off of that, because like I think my favorite thing in general is to think about the conversations that happen behind closed doors, right? And like, especially when it comes to conversations with you guys as distillers, as you guys creating a spirit company, like what are like, there's such a fucking pulse right now, like on like the community, for the whiskey community, right? Like how close is your guy? Like how close do you guys watch that? And see the trends, see the things that people are actually buying, see the people that are the people that will buy your products. Like what are they buying? Like what is their trends? Like what are they like really gravitating towards? How big is that? Like when it comes to like discussing creating spirits?
I'll hop in there right now. I mean, it's a huge thing. Following market trends and trying to keep up with it. It's incredibly important, but it's also incredibly complicated right now because we're in very weird times. We're coming out of this crazy boom, right? Where there was, especially coming out of COVID, when everyone had a little bit of free time and a lot of extra spending cash, people were buying whiskey like crazy and really getting into it, which kind of skewed all the numbers. Well, now we're kind of going into a bit of a recession from that, or at least a market correction. So it's really hard to collect the data. But what really complicates all of it is that there is no more consumer loyalty anymore, right? It's a bit of an issue. I mean, for instance, we're all, in kind of the same age bracket. The generation before us, they would kind of have their bottle, right? And they would just keep buying that brand, in Iowa, a common brand amongst the generation before me, farmers, Black Velvet. Like every Iowa farmer in like the 1980s and 1990s was drinking Black Velvet, and you just couldn't break into that. Now it's the exact opposite. Everyone's got, if you're going to buy a bottle this week, a bottle next week, and the week after that, they're from 3 different distilleries.
Right.
So capturing loyalty right now is very complicated, and it's going to have a major impact on this correction that we're going into. So anyway, people like Chad, people like me, we really pay attention to that stuff. We make sure we're in touch with where the market's going. I spend a lot of time just kind of combing over places like Instagram and seeing what people are talking about, what they're doing, because those are our target consumers. And if we want to understand what they want, we have to be paying attention.
Oh, I thought you were just throwing Chad underneath the bus because of his age.
That's what I thought.
I tiptoed around that one a little bit.
I was pretty excited to be included in your age group. That was pretty cool.
I'll be honest, I was too.
Don't worry, Chad. You had audio issues. Everybody over 40 has audio issues. They're like it always happens.
Well, some of it is I can't hear, but this I don't know.
It happens. I have them all the time. I guess my I know we have pre-written questions, but like I guess my thing to that is where does that stop though? Like where does like the influence from that community stop? Like where what you want takes over? like for both of you guys, like where you want for a product, where does that come over? Like where you, like the noise from the community, the noise from the consumer goes away.
As far as well, so I mean, that's kind of the thing about this is that I view whiskey as a producer. I view it as art, right? And
Yeah, exactly.
at the end of the day, consumers want what they want, but what they really want is for the person who's making the art to make it their way. For instance,
Yeah.
you know, if I want a painting, you know, I might have like a subject that I want that painting to be about, but I don't want it to be exactly what I want. I want it to be what the artist paints. Otherwise, it's my vision, not theirs. So what is really hard is walking that line, following the market trends, listening to the consumers, but also putting out what you think needs to be put out to the market. So like I said, it's really a touchy subject. It's hard to find that line, but you have to walk it. You have to pay attention to the trends, but you have to put out what you feel is a good product. And you also have to set trends. I mean, because if we're just following, all the time, we're gonna die. We're gonna fall behind. We have to kind of lead the pack. So it is a very complicated thing to do, especially when the market is evolving so quickly. But that's the gig. So we just got to walk that line.
I like that.
I think you successfully set a trend, Murphy. A single malt. I think you set a trend for the single malt world, my friend. I'm pretty sure on that.
And that's been a fun one. There's a lot of good single malts out there, and you know, it has been fun to bring light to that category. It's something that a very small amount of people were working on for so long. And I'm happy to have been a part of that. But just blending in general, and I mean that's something that Cold Zero has brought to the table as well. Yeah. What I love doing is blending whiskey and then cask finishing it, and a lot of times blending it once it's been cask finished. So with Cold Zero, I've got to do a ton of that. I mean, Cold Zero is typically going to be bourbon blended with rye. We've got some really fun cask finish stuff sitting around too. So that really, the Cold Zero project has kind of tapped into what I get to do a single malt as well. And that's really exciting for me personally.
I love that. And we're going to ask more about the bourbon and rye, the blending portion of the whiskey. But I did want to touch on that, Chad, you guys started with vodka. Can you talk a little bit about why you started with vodka and how that all went?
Yeah, really, Casey, who was my partner, the retired FBI guy, he came to me and said, "Hey, man, you want to start a vodka brand?" And I was not super enthusiastic, to be perfectly honest with you. Vodka has never been my drink of choice. There's some decent vodkas out there, but yeah, that's just not my thing. You know, I like I said, I like Scotch and Scotch, whiskey, bourbon, and really I lean towards rye. So when he said that, I was like, "Do they make anything else?" He said, "Let me check." And thank God they did. And as soon as he said that, yeah, I was on board.
Nice. Very nice. So the vodka is a corn vodka, I presume.
Yeah. So all of our products being from the state of Iowa and the largest corn producer in the United States, everything's corn based.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Well,
looky there.
I don't know. Let's drink some whiskey, Brian.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I want to get into both of these, right? So you guys have a 50-50 that you sent us, 50% bourbon and then 50% rye. That's correct?
Pretty close, yeah.
In that range, yep.
Okay, in that range. Perfect.
Yeah, there's 7% malted barley in there as well, which gives it a little bit of unique flavor.
Oh, okay, very nice. That was not on any of the areas I read. So
yeah, we when we first started this, we were learning with labels, and there's a lot of stuff we didn't include. Our next products, the label will be a little bit more self-explanatory.
Perfect.
For sure, but both parties are right either way. I mean, that malted barley is really going to come into play from the bourbon and the rye. It is a very important ingredient, to Chad's point. It does kind of soften and round out the spice and even the sweetness from the other grains involved. But it is a bourbon and rye blend. There is corn, rye, and malted barley in it. So all parties are right. And yeah, I'm getting that on the label and websites and stuff like that's important because I do feel like that malted barley does add a nice touch to it.
Very nice. And the second one, which is absolutely phenomenal, is your Medal of Honor recipient, Reserve, which I have kind of want to drink all of this tonight, but I know I have to work in the morning, so I can't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, grain bill on that thing is exactly the same. It's the same product. The only difference is that we bottled it at a higher proof after we aged it for a year in a ex-red wine cask.
yeah, but fuck me,
It's
this
very
is
good.
good.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, yeah.
It's got a dope funk to it. That's a weird way to. That's a very. I don't know. I'm not. I can't. Can I use the word dope?
Thank you, Gen
Yes.
Z.
I thought dope was a lot cooler than funk, but yeah, go ahead.
But so
That's a good word.
so that's a good word.
too.
That's a good word. That is a good word. I can see the negative connotation behind it, but like to me, like when I think funk, like I think of Springbank, right? I'm a huge Springbank fan. Like to me, they've got that farm. It's that Campbelltown funk. Balcones, to me, Balcones has such like a Texas funk. I think this has a funk to me that is like that's a good word when I say that. Like it's distinct. I think that's what it is. It's so distinct, and this one has such a distinct characteristic to it.
It really does. At 115 proof, it's fucking killer.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the funk. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. It's you go right ahead.
I was just gonna say on the subject of funk. Big fan of the funk in whiskey. That's one of the most important parts. As a matter of fact, when I'm doing a blend, there's a few different things that I'm keeping in mind. Things like balance. Like the finish of it. It's really important that that's not flat and that goes on forever. But I am always looking for a funk element to it because that is really what's going to make it stand out and be different.
Yeah.
Like you said, some of the best scotches I've had, which the kind of the base that I've built in whiskey comes from Scotch. I started a big Scotch fan, and what really sets one apart is usually going to be a funk. Just something that, man, I don't even really know what that is, but it really takes a unique turn. That's kind of what you can geek out about and study, and I'm really glad that you're picking up on that in this particular bottle. Yeah.
So, and Chad, I think you may have jumped on just as I was talking about this. So I got to meet up with Adrian over the weekend, and a bunch of other people that are our friends within the whiskey community. I brought the Reserve with me because I wanted people to try it. Obviously, because we were just about to do the podcast, but also just because I'm like, you know what, like I have not shared this particular bottle with people yet. And I poured it for people, and that was exactly the first comment. They're like, I cannot place my finger on it, but there is something so funky and good about this. And we sat there for like 20 minutes just like listing out our notes about this one. And and the bottle hasn't even gone down that much, but it even changed a little bit. Even like like the funk, like there was like the funkiness turned into more just like stone fruits, and just like there was like so many things that were coming out of it that it was. I love that. I love when the funk is so prominent like that, but it's so distinct. You can get into things like terroir. We could get wild with terms and stuff right now if we really wanted to, but it really is
trying to piss off Adrian, aren't you, with that word?
I am. I was trying to throw that out there for Adrian. So background guys,
word.
like
terroir is a trigger word.
We bring this word up a lot because I
anyway.
feel like it comes up a lot. But no, it was very well received. This one was very well received. At first, we're just like, God, what is this? And it's just like it was so different. But we love different whiskeys, so that's kind of our jam. So yeah, we definitely.
Funk is the fingerprint.
Yeah,
the funk is the fingerprint.
Funk is the fingerprint.
So, Adrian, are we getting into this tasting notes? And I only want to do it for the Reserve just because
it's different.
This is so different and unique. I want to get Martin's opinion, and then I can throw out mine. And then if we're wrong completely, just let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Okay, I'm going to the website now. We'll grade you guys.
And what we do, and usually Murphy, Chad, usually what we do is Brian and I won't look at whatever the tasting notes that have been listed out officially and try to get close. Obviously, it's so subjective.
Yeah.
You guys are drinking the Reserve, correct?
We are drinking the Reserve, yeah. I'm also drinking other alcohols, but yeah, right now.
Put my glasses on.
I get this moment I'm drinking the Reserve.
Oh, you don't want to mess that up again, Adrian?
Oh my gosh.
Those are new glasses.
Revenge?
Yeah, I just got these glasses, you guys. Last week I read a bottle I read Vicious Body, and it actually said viscous.
It was viscous.
Body.
Yeah.
So you should always wear your glasses. Just
Shut-
FYI.
Exactly.
Over
Shout
the
out,
vicious body.
yeah. Shout out to
Yeah.
optometrists. You know what I mean? Let's go eye
Yep.
doctors, guys.
All right.
It's got
We got a char number 3 finished in a
Okay.
Tiedemann wine cask. If you want to know a little bit more detail.
And if
But-
you guys can talk a little bit about that, because I'm not familiar with that. So Tiedemann, what's like the whole? What's everything behind that?
Yeah, so Stan Tiedemann owns Tiedemann Vineyards, family-owned vineyard, small 14-acre vineyard right across the street from Oakville. Oakville's one of the premier wineries in Napa Valley. He's a good friend of ours, personal friend and a friend of the brand, and he sends us anywhere between 10 and 20 of his used red wine barrels out every
That's
year,
so cool.
and we fill them up.
Nice.
Great.
And,
Yeah,
and they're
it is
I
a
just wanna
very
say-
small vineyard, only 14 acres, but it's one of the most sought after. Most of those brands out there, they'll buy grapes from other vineyards, and he's one of the most sought after ones out there. I've seen multiple, and I mean, big name people in the wine business approach Stan and ask him if they can buy his grapes.
And I'll mention on that. So I do a lot of cask finishing. Obviously, one of the coolest parts of my job is I bring in barrels from all over the globe, and have dealt with a lot of red wine casks. Because these casks in particular are incredible. The flavor that they impart, they bring a lot of color to the table. That's something that at times I get nervous when we're shipping barrels from long distances away that they might show up dried out and not impart much flavor. And that is not the case with these. They're just incredible. As a matter of fact, on our most recent shipment of them, I asked Chad to throw me in a few extra so that we could use them around here for some of our other products, just because they do such an incredible job.
Oh, you cheater.
Yeah.
I wish I could have that connection.
It's so good. It's so good.
So
Oh,
the
that's
cool
awesome.
thing, and I don't know if Murphy will actually admit to this, at one point, and it was 2 or 3 visits ago out to the distillery, we were talking about this product, and he said, that's probably the best product Cedar Ridge has ever put out. And I reached for my phone so I could record it, and I just missed him.
No, I was
This
just waiting
close.
for
We'll try to get him to say it again.
No, I'll say it right now.
Say it right now.
I
Record it.
truly I want to touch on 2 things on this, because the project in general is probably the coolest thing that I've had an opportunity to do in my career. These bottles are signed by Medal of Honor recipients. I mean, it's a huge deal, and it's just such an honor in general to work alongside of that. But as we were talking about at the very beginning of this, the packaging, the story behind something, it only matters if the quality of the liquid can stand up to that. And that's
100%.
obviously a huge ask when you're talking about Medal of Honor bottles. So I will go ahead and say it right now. I do believe that this is the best product that we have put out, especially non-single malt, but maybe even with single malt in the competition for this. It is probably the best whiskey that we have ever put out here. That cask finish worked so well.
Yeah.
You get so much influence on it, but it's not off balance. Every now and then when you get good cask influence, it might even throw things off balance or kind of be a red wine bomb. I think that this is just really well balanced. You get the representation of the wine cask, but you still get that bourbon and the rye. So the balance of it, I was really happy with. So yes, I would say that this is probably the best thing that we've ever put out.
Yes.
There we go. You got it, Chad.
It
We'll
was very good.
We'll send you that in a separate AI clip. Don't
Yes,
worry.
please. Do, yeah. I'm going
Blast that
to
everywhere.
talk to the owner of Cedar Ridge and see if
Yeah.
we can't get Murphy to come over to the team.
What are your so thinking about this, and Brian, let's maybe talk a little bit about what we're getting from this. But as we're doing this, both Chad, Murph, what are red flag notes for you guys when it comes to finishing something, where you're just this isn't it, this is not what I'm thinking of, because we talk a lot about what's good, we talk about the notes where you're oh my god, I'm really loving these notes, but what are where you're this is not working for a finishing cask.
Yeah, I'll hop on that one. I actually love when that happens because it presents a few unique elements. So one, when it comes to cask finishing, you never really have to be done. I'll set bourbon and rye aside here, and I'll focus specifically on single malt because that's really where my expertise is in cask finishing. And I love when I have a barrel that's just like, oh man, this is funky. As a matter of fact, there's a group called the Iowa Whiskey Chasers, just a Facebook group in the state of Iowa. They hunt really cool bottles, just like every other state has. A really good group of people. They came out, and we probably tried through 20 different barrels of single malt, and we came upon this one. It was mesquite malt in an ex-bourbon cask, and it was not good. Pretty like I said, we tried 20 barrels. 19 of them were amazing, and we tried this one, and it was just not good. And everyone was like, "Oh man, that's a bummer. That's a bummer." And I was like, 2 years from now, you guys are gonna come back, and this is gonna be your favorite barrel on the property. Yep. I'm gonna find, I look at it as a challenge because I can move it to a different cask, maybe blend it with something else, and just keep shaping it, keep finicking it until it is something that I really enjoy. So that's one route that you can do is just keep working on it. Another route is you can use it as a blend. For instance, every now and then I'll have something that's cask finishing and it's just off balance. For instance, we'll stick with red wine. Maybe something is finishing in a Merlot cask and it basically just tastes like Merlot. It's very one-noted. It's underwhelming. Well, in a blend, that can actually work really well to bring that one note to the table. And what you need to do is you need to blend that barrel with other barrels that don't have that note and hope that they can meet somewhere in the middle. So it can work to really round out a blend by bringing that one note to the table. So those are a couple options you can do. I will say, though, it's not 100% there. I can think of one barrel in particular that I just absolutely hate and I want nothing to do with. And that is we bought 4 Amburana barrels. Probably a year and a half ago. And I know everyone has very mixed feelings on these. Some people can really pull them off. With our distillate, it just did not work. I've got some single malts and some bourbon in these Amburana casks, and it just didn't work. And I'm not even going to mess with it. If they just evaporate over time, I don't care. Whatever. But I'm gonna give up on them. Yep.
You know what? I don't blame you. I got to be honest. Like, there's been I think there's only been one Amburana finish that I've ever enjoyed, and it's not because I don't think it's not interesting. I just think that it was offensive for the most part, like what I've tried. But there was a Starlight that they did one. I think they did it really well, but everything else, because it tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But everything else, I'm like, I can't do this. It tastes like sponge.
So Starlight is incredible. And they're really good at stuff like that. Knowing when to stop, and that's really hard with Amburana because I think the trick is, you've got 1 or 2 weeks of the whiskey being in that barrel. It's so overpowering. If I brought that barrel into this room and set it next to me, I mean, I'd be able to smell the wood from 15 feet away. It's so strong. So I think it takes a while probably to learn how quickly you got to get that whiskey back out of the barrel. And I have no doubt that the people over at Starlight would be good at that. They're just amazing at what they do.
But that's such a thing, and for people like you guys know when that moment is to bring something over to make it we gotta fucking stop, because otherwise it's gonna go too far this way, and it's gonna, because there's obviously certain kind of barrels you put in there. So tasting notes though, Brian, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I just wrote down everything I had. So I did front palate. I got Red Hots, those little candies you're getting.
Cinnamon Red Hots?
Those cinnamon Red Hots.
Fuck yeah.
I was getting that. I actually got a cinnamon stick off of it. Like, have you ever sucked on a cinnamon stick before?
Well, we're talking about what?
Stop it. Get your money out of here. You fucking perv.
When I tried this, I wrote down literally spice on the front of the tongue. I must have gotten the very same thing.
There was a note that I wrote down from this one over the weekend, because I tried it before, and then when I went out to try it, and we had been drinking a lot of ryes before this. I actually just said the British version of it. It's Whoppers, right? In the US, Maltesers is the British one.
Yeah, Maltese is the British one. Whoppers.
I grew up with Scottish parents, so they've just bought me fucking British candy all the time. But it reminds me that kind of malted chocolate. There's this malted chocolate note that is just so strong in this, and it kills it. Then it's just like red cherries.
I was actually getting a honey. I was getting a honey melon dew off of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you ever buy one of those from the store and you actually eat that fresh, that was right on the mid palate. I was getting that with almost like a smoky high end like apple and cherry wood.
Okay, I can see the cherry wood. That's a really good call out. No,
Yeah.
it's delicious. It's absolutely it's complex. It's something. I love a good finish. I'm always.
He always
Like I
loves
said,
to finish.
I did write down that
do love
he
that
had a long.
Thanks, Brian.
Sorry, Adrian. I had to.
That's fine. Go ahead. He was just complimenting me.
All right, it's okay.
Yeah.
So the notes on the description here say notes of toasted oak, caramel with a hint of smoky sweetness.
There you go, Brian.
A smooth hint of red wine finish that lingers with every sip.
Yeah, I put on the back range mid-range finish with a Pinot Noir.
Yeah,
casking.
I put longer finish for this one too. It was very good.
It sits with you. I think the best whiskey in the world sits with you. I mean, I think that's the thing. Like it's just like you can have stuff that's good, but then you have stuff that lasts. And like when it has that long.
That's what she said.
Okay. You know, I was trying to make a beautiful parable there, and he just went there with it. You know what I mean? Like I'm over here just trying to. You know what I mean? No.
Whoa, he's fucking military law enforcement.
Hey,
I have no
he's
filter.
also not wrong.
No.
He's also not wrong. You know, in a lot of ways. But no,
Sorry,
this
Adrian.
Are you guys gonna try the? Are you gonna try the other one too?
I mean, if you want me to drink, sure.
Don't sound disappointed. It's a good product as well.
It's great. I love it.
No.
Actually, though, this is the one that I've been kind of focusing on. You can see
one. I did. I drank more of that one than I did this one. See?
Yeah, I do love it. I was just trying to like not confuse myself here. This one's really good too, and because to me, when it comes to bourbon, I want something kind of down the line. Do I want some weird shit? Of course I do. People on this podcast know one of my favorite distilleries is Detling. So I do like weird shit. But I do like a down the line bourbon, and for me this is it. But then there's just like this that Cedar Ridge edge.
There's 100% that note of Cedar Ridge that is I mean, it's unmistakable.
It's distinct. And it's
we definitely have a certain style that you can pick up on both the flavor profile and in mouthfeel. We've got a certain texture that people have gotten pretty good at picking out and calling out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Martin's favorite word. It's moist.
That's not my favorite.
That's Martin's trigger word.
That's his trigger word. I just had to throw it out there.
Not my favorite.
He's hurting on Adrian earlier, so.
I just think it's a weird word. It's just there's a lot. I mean, they'll just say wet's even weirder. To be fair, so it's weirder. But no, moist, I get it. I get the sort of.
One thing I would say about this one that I particularly like is it's a little bit lower proof, and
of course
I love high proof just as much as anybody. Trust me, as
much as the next guy.
Yeah, a JD single barrel proof rye back there that is like 135, and I absolutely love it. But sometimes I can't drink it. Sometimes I just can't. So I definitely and I want to drink more. So I'll go for something a little bit lower. 92 is kind of a good sweet spot for that because it's not 80, it's not 86, it's not 100. It's like I don't know. That's what I would. Not that the flavor isn't good because it is, but just something I wanted to point out on that one.
I mean,
proof is tough because like you said, I mean, obviously when things are cask strength, barrel proof, whatever words you want to use, obviously they're going to maintain more flavor because they're less diluted. I mean, as whiskey enthusiasts, that's always really fun. And so I like to offer multiple options, one at high proof and one at lower proof, because at the end of the day, there's a time and a place for both. And I've been, like you guys said earlier, I've been working in this industry pretty much my whole life, and I do like to have something that's full flavored because that's what I normally work with. But every now and then, it's nice to just have a dram of something that's not going to attack your palate. It's a little bit more easy sipping. It's still balanced and flavorful, but it's not overly aggressive. And from time to time, that's just a nice little break.
Well, I'm also not going to get into my tasting notes for what I just had because it'll gross some people out, but I think it's fucking awesome. what I just tried.
Yeah.
So
It always is, and then at that proof range too, it can also be good to make cocktails for
Exactly.
people who
Sure,
want to actually make
exactly.
cocktails too. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is that.
I think it's
squirrel time. Squirrel time.
It's squirrel time. So, yeah. So
What the flip?
to throw this out there with you guys, we always do a squirrel question. Martin usually does a lead in for this because he does. But this time I'm gonna do it.
Oh, you're
because
gonna
he's
come
gonna
up with something.
I'm doing it. Why we're gonna do it
Let's
this
do
way
this.
because
Okay.
You're
The first time-
you're asking the question, right?
yeah, he's asking
So-
the question. So we gotta do the
Oh.
lead in for it.
Here
So
we
much
go.
responsibility.
I know.
A lot happening
So-
here.
Yeah, so every time we have a guest on, we always like to throw something out there to change up the subject from whiskey to something
The squirrels.
strange and unusual. So we started on the first episode with a squirrel because Adrian was out in the backyard on her first episode chasing a squirrel because it was just bugging her so bad it wouldn't get out away from the
Stabbing her
window.
head.
Yeah,
Had
stabbing
a
her
knife.
head. That just
Had a knife.
went lethal. Jesus Christ. It's not a hostage negotiation. But this is all false. Adrian, we actually have no idea how the squirrel question happened. I know there was a squirrel something in the first episode that we ever did 38, 39, 40 episodes ago, something like that. And we just kept rolling with it from there because it threw everybody off. So we got two separate questions for you, one for both of you
Yep.
guys, and let's just see where it goes.
Well, it depends on how hard it is. I'm going to have audio issues again, but please go.
He's like. So my answer is.
I'm sorry. Did you say something?
You can read lips. Just remember.
All right. So, Chad, you got the first part of this question, my friend. We're gonna say.
Well.
Okay. That might actually work. So how could a squirrel? Sorry. How could a squirrel? Can I ask this question? Is this okay?
Yes.
Okay. So how could I just feel like I shouldn't ask this. So how could a squirrel get the Medal of Honor if it was in the services? That's okay to ask, right?
Yeah, that's fine to ask. I don't
Okay.
see any reason
know.
why you wouldn't ask it.
I don't know. Like I don't know. I think it's maybe the wording of it. Maybe it's me
Squirrel
asking it. I don't know. It's like
Yeah, I guess that squirrel would have to go above and beyond and get more nuts than any other squirrel.
there we go.
Nice.
That's what I was hoping for.
We
Okay.
have the most nuts of any squirrel.
Okay. I'm glad I asked this question now.
Yeah, just jaws full of nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So are we
Is
talking
that
about
what you're
the space,
looking for? I don't know.
So,
we're talking about the Space Force or the Navy?
Probably the Navy, yeah.
Space Force.
Not to
Shout out-
offend my
shout out-
SEAL brothers, but yeah.
yeah, shout out to Space Force. But Murphy, you get the second part of this question.
All right.
Here we go. This one I feel like is okay, and I can ask this one. When a squirrel is trying to choose a cask, how would it choose it and why?
Oh man, I think a squirrel is going to really pay attention to wood influence. I think they're going to want to.
Yeah.
I think they're really. Man, that's not exactly what I meant.
I
but,
know what you meant. Yeah, I know what you meant.
I was
Fine.
going
Squirrels are all
like-
about wood.
I was going,
went to what side?
oak varieties, but yes, take that how you will. I think
Yeah.
a squirrel is going to be very interested in, what type of oak we're working with here, and French oak, American oak, Hungarian oak. They're really going to want to get in on that.
What is Hungarian oak? Is the Tokai? Is that what it is?
So yes, that Tokai would be basically a style of wine produced in Hungary.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm sure that at times they probably do use Hungarian oak.
Yeah. I've only tried a few of those and they're very good. I don't know what a Hungarian squirrel looks like. I really don't know many varieties of squirrels, if I'm being honest. There's the ones by me, they look like, they can beat up my dog. Because
I'd imagine they probably all look the same. They just sound a little different, right?
yeah, they sound like they're from the Midwest, and they're just they're squirrels. And they drink whiskey, and
Don't you know?
they say, oh no, you know.
Oh, sorry, just looking for an acorn.
I was just looking for acorns.
I was just gonna say that.
The longer you do a Midwestern accent, it just turns Canadian every single time.
It really, or it just goes into like Fargo.
Yeah. Hey.
It's like, man, I love this. We do this for the answers, by the way. Adrian, I know that I have it. Adrian, for looking at our list, I'm supposed to ask the next question, but I think you should ask the next question about American single malt for Cold Zero.
Oh, why me?
I don't know, just because I got to pee. If I'm being honest with you.
It's fine. All right, it's all good. I got you.
You answer this. I'm out of here. I'll be right back.
I got this. Yes. So, I don't know why that tripped me up there real quick, but it did. So it's hard to go from the squirrel to like back to reality here sometimes. Anyway,
tough transition.
That's what she said.
It was, do you guys foresee Chad doing a single malt with Cold Zero spirits?
I think that would be a hard one. I think we're really we hit our sweet spot with this first offering that we did, and both of them being the same grain bill. I think we're pretty comfortable where we're at. What I'd be interested in the future, maybe a bourbon. As far as a single malt, it would be really hard to compete with Murph with what he's going on, especially coming out of the same distillery. So no, I don't see that happening anytime in the near future until we grow so successful that we're able to buy Cedar Ridge from the Quints.
I hope you let me work for you if you do that.
Dude, I tell you what, 100% you would be the first guy I would approach, and we pay good.
Hey, that's great news. That's great news.
Oh, that's a great one. So, Adrian, just go on to the next one, because I mean that's a great question to ask, and it honors so much.
Yeah. So this is really a question that I wanted to ask. Your website talks about you have a portion of the proceeds that are going to nonprofit organizations that are affiliated with the military and veterans and things like that.
Yeah.
One of them was Warriors Rising. Another one was the Green Beret Foundation. Can you talk a little bit about maybe one of those or anything associated with that?
Yep, for sure. So we partner with a bunch of them. So the Congressional Medal of Honor Society, that's important to us because those guys, like I said, unlike the squirrels, they actually did go above and beyond. And if you ever read the stories of those guys, so we've got 6 recipients that have signed bottles for us, and all of those are hand signed. By the way, it's we didn't create those on a label. We sent about 400-ish labels to each of 6 guys, and they signed them each one at a time. And specifically Leroy Petrie, so he was a Ranger. He lost his right hand when he threw an enemy grenade back at I don't remember who they were fighting or where they were at, but Al-Qaeda or ISIS, I can't remember. But he threw it back, and the second one he threw back exploded a little prematurely, and it blew his hand off. So when he was signing them, he had to sign with his left hand. And Earl Plumley, who is another Medal of Honor recipient, was actually holding them flat while Leroy was signing them, which is, to me, that's just super fucking cool. You know what I mean?
So cool.
The fact that those guys, what they did, and then the fact that, they're partnered with us is just outstanding.
Also, I got to say, impeccable handwriting, because even if I can't write shit with both hands.
Yeah. Is that who you have? Do you have a Leroy Petrie?
No, we have Earl Plumley.
Yeah.
Plumley.
Okay.
Yeah, we have Earl Plumley, but no, I did read about both of those gentlemen on your website, and it was a very I loved hearing those stories about them and the fact that their autographs were on the bottles. But
those guys are both just super studs.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about
two actually on there.
I mean, talk about 2 individuals that went above and beyond the call of duty to help out their fellow service members, especially in the Army, right? Since both of them were in the Army. One's a Master Sergeant and one's an Army Ranger who just killed it as a Staff Sergeant and just moved forwards and continued to move forwards no matter what happened. That's if you guys haven't heard of the Medal of Honor's recipients or the Medal of Honor Foundation, go look them up. I know people from all around the world listen to this podcast, so it's something that can inspire you and should inspire you to move forwards, no matter how hard or what's going on in your life.
The really cool thing about both Leroy Petrie and Earl Plumley is they're part owners of our company. So those guys actually, they own, they're both involved. We have meetings every week. They get on the phone, they give us an idea of what they're thinking moving forward. But you asked me about a specific nonprofit that we're participating with, and there's a absolute boatload of them. The one that I would like to talk about specifically is Hunter 7 Foundation. And those guys are in Las Vegas right now, and we've got a team member out there. They're at SHOT Show, and what they do is for all post 9/11 veterans, because we have such a high incidence of cancer, is they do free testing, and they'll do a body scan. So they'll send you out a blood test. I've actually got mine upstairs that I need to fill out here shortly. And then when they get those results back, they look at all the cancer markers, and then they'll actually find a physician or a physician's office in your area, and they send you for a full body scan like an MRI, and they look at that scan for anything that they think is concerning regarding cancers, and they really they've saved a bunch of lives just by finding cancer prior to you would normally, until you had symptoms. They find it before you have symptoms. So that's one of the newer nonprofits that we partner with, and those guys are just amazing. They're doing a heck of a job, and I think they save lives at least every week. So it's an amazing. I'm honored to be participating with those guys.
Well, that's incredible.
So
Go ahead, Adrian. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say that I really, when I find out a craft whiskey company is doing things like this, I want to hear those stories. I want you to tell me why you're affiliated with them and what me buying that whiskey is going to help someone else. So I appreciate you sharing that information.
Yeah. So this is a business, and we did get into it to make money. We haven't made money yet. Nobody on the team's actually gotten paid. But to be honest with you, most of us are retired anyway. So we've got a pension coming in from the military or government service of some sort. What really matters to us, and I would say probably the two most important pillars of our company, is don't compromise your integrity by putting out a shit product. And by, partnering with Cedar Ridge, we're not going to do that. It just will not happen. Everything that we put out is going to be an outstanding product. Whether it's to your taste or not, that's subjective. But objectively, we're putting out outstanding products. And the second thing is we're going to give back to the veteran community that we came from, both veterans and first responders and cancer victims, because I'm a cancer survivor myself. So we're taking care of those three kind of efforts, and we're able to do that by either supporting with donations, either monetary, or more likely what we do is we send out quite a few bottles and give them up for auction items. But those are the two most important things to us is giving back to the communities that we came from and putting out an outstanding product.
And I
should
think
I get down off my soapbox now?
No, dude, I love your soapbox, by the way.
I think that's going to create the loyalty that Murphy was talking about that everybody's looking for. Those are the kinds of things that keep people. I don't know, like me personally, I want to support things like that. I want to help people, right? So I think that's awesome.
Absolutely. So there's consumers that are going to get out and support that because obviously they're doing good and giving back to the community, which is great. But I can say even as a producer, it's something that's so incredibly cool, to even be able to work with these guys, to help these people who have helped, everyone in our country for decades and decades, and kept us all safe. To be able to work with them is just such an incredible honor, and to see them also giving back to that community just takes it to the next level.
It is, and I mean, it's such a great.
Absolutely.
It's such a great. I mean, what better of a product could you have? It's a good whiskey product. Number one, that's what it speaks, right? There's not going to be anything out there like if you put a product out and people are like, well, okay, well, it's not that good. I don't know how much I'm going to get into the brand, but when it's good, they will back the shit out of the brand. And especially for what you guys are doing out there, I think it's a special combination. Because it elevated me, because I tried the whiskey before I knew that it was Cedar Ridge doing it. And I got the bottles, and these guys know I'm not great at admin. Like I don't read a lot of things. Usually I just go into stuff, and I just started drinking. I'm like, wow, this is fucking good. But it reminds me of something. And then I was on a live, and they're like, well, yeah, it's out of Cedar Ridge. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like, that's why, like, I love everything about this bottle. Like, I loved it, like how it said veteran owned right on it. And I know when Brian and myself and Adrian took over this podcast, we had a couple goals, and that was to highlight craft distilleries, but also veteran owned distilleries. That was a big part of like what we wanted to do. So like that, like it literally scratched every fucking itch that we had for like what we do. And I loved it before, but it made it so special that it was these two things coming together. And I think to me that's what I look for in brands. Because there's so much shit out there. There's a lot of whiskey out there. There just is.
Well, I mean,
It's a lot.
Crazy.
There's so much fucking whiskey. It's insane.
well, with everything that we're
More
doing
whiskey on the
today,
shelf than ever before.
yeah,
There's so much stuff.
with everything that we're doing today, there's 2 days that we're actually in, right? So it was the inauguration of the president today, as well as Martin Luther King Jr.
Shout out to Mel.
Day
MLK.
as well. So but more important to that, I believe the focus should be on our veterans and
Absolutely.
helping out the ones who gave the most in those communities and in those areas that they did by sacrificing their bodies and lives. And first responders fall in that category as well, from law enforcement to nurses to doctors to anybody who's helped out in those communities to build it and make it strong and keep it strong by keeping crime out, or making sure houses don't burn down, or making sure people don't die just randomly from cancer. So we just have to be very cognizant about what we're doing. And I believe Chad, Murphy, you guys are doing a phenomenal job in everything that you're doing for this. And I really applaud it.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So the last soppy question I got for you guys.
It's soppy, but it's good.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is our favorite
This is-
question.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Better
Also,
than the
soppy-
better than the squirrel question?
It's
No more squirrels.
No more squirrels. But also, soppy is
Could
a
be.
better word than moist, by the way. Soppy, I know that sounds grosser, but like it's better than fucking moist.
Well, it is a wet question.
It's a little more messy, perhaps. Yeah.
Not yet. This is a great question.
No, it's
But
a phenomenal
but
question.
It's soppy. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me guess who wrote this one. The smart one on the podcast. That
So
narrows it right down.
Yeah.
what's your guys' favorite whiskey memory or spirit memory that you've ever had throughout your entire life?
Yeah.
Sharing it with someone, drinking it with someone. It could be anything from whiskey to anything on earth. From you experience your dad drinking something and just watching it to now.
Yeah. We
Go
won't get
ahead,
into
Mark.
we won't get into my trauma or Brian's trauma or Adrian's trauma. What do you guys think?
I can go first, and I'll just because it's an easy out. I'm not going to talk about the fun times that Chad, Casey, and I've had together, because those have been some of my. We have spent a lot of fun time out in our Rickhouse number 9 tasting through barrels, and those have been very special to me. But just because that'd be a very easy answer, I'm going to go a different route. I will say some of my favorite whiskey memories. One of them in particular, I worked at another distillery for a while, a really good place, and we had a little. It's been like 13 years since I've been there, so I could probably talk about it, but. We had a little secret area that we kind of carved out in barrel storage, right? I mean, you can see behind me how barrels stack. If you stack like 20 of them behind each other, you create this like huge plot of barrels. And what you can do is you can kind of create little secret entrances and exits, and you can have like a little room that's hollowed out where there are no barrels in the middle of it all. And we did that at one point. And every now and then at the end of the day, me and 2 other guys were really good friends, and we'd just meet up in there, and we'd have a quick end of the day, dram together and just kind of talk about things. And it was a lot of fun, but it was just so cool to kind of have that little area hollowed out in all the barrels that no one else knew about. And, we just go and have a couple goofs, have a couple laughs, and sip on the whiskey that we spent the day creating. And it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. That's why we asked that
Chad?
question. For stories like that.
It is.
Yeah,
honestly, that is why we asked this question.
Yeah, like Murph was saying, those are some of the coolest memories I've got. As far as this particular brand, we'd go into Rick House number 9, and he would drill a couple of holes, because the product that we've got here is 5 years, and we've been aging another 6 to 10 casks for an additional 2 years. When we bottle it this summer, it's going to be a 7-year product, and it's going to be amazing, because every time we've gone back in there and tasted it, it's just gotten better and better. So stand by for that, and we'll come back on maybe this time next year.
Yeah. Oh, God.
No, I'm coming out there.
Oh, yeah.
That would work too. You guys should come out when we bottle. That's actually a great idea.
Well,
Absolutely.
That would be fun.
That'd be a lot of
You
fun.
tell us when, and I will book tickets.
I'm 4.5 hours from
Not
Cedar Ridge.
that- it's a little
I
bit
am
of
not.
both,
I
not
will
much.
fly.
I've driven a lot more for a lot less. Heck, I will fucking drive out there.
You guys are on the VIP list. Let's do it.
We've already had discussions about coming out to Cedar Ridge. That's
Yeah.
gonna happen. That's 100% gonna happen.
Hey, let us know, because I'd like to meet you guys in person. We can go get a
Absolutely.
drink.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
honestly.
Do you still want me to answer the question though?
Yes, I do.
was just gonna say,
Okay.
we need your
Yeah,
we
yeah.
need your memory.
Okay,
Well, that
so
wasn't the memory. I thought that was the memory.
no, that was just a sub memory. This is a real.
God,
memory.
it's
Yeah.
it's like
Okay.
Inception, dude. This is great. Let's go.
I was contracting, and I was I don't remember if I was in Syria or Iraq, but my girlfriend at the time. You ever go on Amazon and they sell these sunscreen bottles that are empty and clean? They just say sunscreen on the outside. You can fill them with booze. So she would ship those over to me, and my go-to drink at the time, because it was affordable, was Oban 14.
Oh,
So she would send me boxes
so good.
full of Oban 14 in these sunscreen bottles.
that's so
And-
dope.
And I'm sure the guys at the postal system were wondering, how fucking white is this guy that he needs all this?
He's like,
Yeah, but nobody ever opened one. So I had 3 or 4 bottles of Oban, and we would, we'd used to have these things where we get around a fire barrel like hobos. But when you're living overseas in that environment, you kind of are living like a hobo. Yeah. And when I would show up, I'd bring a sunscreen bottle of Oban 14 and just give a little bit to these guys. And you're not allowed to drink over there, so it's even more precious than the near beer that you were allowed to drink. So yeah, it was a great way to build friendships and strengthen relationships with guys that you're serving in harm's way with. So that's my favorite whiskey moment of all time for sure.
That's
so
fucking
Very
amazing.
cool.
As,
So
really
cool.
cool, man.
I mean, I served overseas as well. I went to Afghanistan a while ago, probably like yourself. But getting that experience with someone, because we had someone who did that as well and shared a little bit of their stuff, but it was probably a lot more than they should have for the environment that we were in at the time. But it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had out there from what I remember. So
Very cool. Very cool.
yeah.
How much time do we have on this podcast left?
We
do I
don't
have
really
time
have,
to?
we have all the time.
We
All
have
right.
all the time you guys want to fucking talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good one, though.
It was good.
Yep, it was great.
For everybody that's hearing it now,
Okay,
it was
yeah.
so good.
It was
You
a
guys
great
missed
story,
out.
and
It was
you're
great.
never
You
going
guys
to hear
missed
it
out.
because that's getting cut forever.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
Even
I have
if you guys pay for the Patreon, still can't hear it.
yeah, that one's cut. That one's cut.
Still can't hear it.
You guys can share it personally with people that you trust.
It's like 3 people.
So the 3 of us,
Like 3.
yeah. In here. These
3 of us
these
and
people.
our editor, that's all we trust.
The 5 of us can get on another podcast and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't even trust
So-
the editor because like he's used to editing awards from like like the French and Indian war and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
He's my age.
Sorry,
Just because he turned 70 today.
and actually,
I love you, Joe.
Oh wait.
can we take a second? Let's give a shout out. It's our editor's birthday. Everybody wish him a
Yeah.
happy birthday. Everybody in there, if you guys wish Joe a happy
Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Joe.
He's
There
got
you
the
go,
same.
buddy.
He's got the same birthday as America. So shout outs,
No, he
dude.
doesn't.
He's just old. You know what I mean? He's dusty as fuck.
Same
Anyway.
year, different date. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy 115th.
Just like Martin's memory.
Yeah. Happy 115th, buddy. But anyways, but
So
guys, there you go.
Probably ought to wrap
yeah,
it up.
we really appreciate everything that you guys have done and said on this podcast. Not only that, but supported the veterans and provided us
Mhm.
some of the best whiskey we've ever had
It's
on this
Fucking
podcast.
good. It's fucking
So thank you, Murphy. Thank you, Chad,
good. Mhm.
both for everything that you guys do out there. And everybody out there, no matter where you're at in the world, thank you guys. And remember, a bourbon with friends can change the world.
Yeah.
Have a great day or night. Thanks, y'all.
Cheers, buddies.
Everybody.
That's it for this episode of Bourbon with Friends. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a review to make it easier for others to find the show. You can also check us out on Instagram at BWF Podcast. Thanks for listening.